Australia is about to have a vote on whether to allow same-sex couples to be able to marry. This has prompted many people to start vocalising their opinions. Among the voices is the Coalition for Marriage, which feels very strongly that same-sex couples should not be able to get married. They recently released a video trying to convince the public to vote no on this important issue. So, in this video, we're going to deconstruct their advert and see if it is a strong argument for voting no on same-sex marriage. Hi, I'm R.
And I'm Jay.
And let's get into it. Before watching this, it is worth understanding the basis for the arguments for same-sex marriage. Primarily, it is that marriage is something citizens have a right to, and is not strictly a religious affair. Whilst marriage may have religious connotations to some, marriage is a government institution and can be undertaken without any involvement of religion, which outlines why it should not conform exclusively to religious ideologies. Being married affords people certain legal rights and social outcomes, which all citizens have a right to. Denying same-sex couples that legal right is discriminatory and unlawful in Australia based on its anti-discrimination laws. For further reading on the legal rights associated with marriage and the legal history of marriage, please check out our references in the description. Now, whilst there are other arguments in favour of same-sex marriage, this is typically the primary one. Understanding this, let's start watching this advert to see how well this is addressed.
School told my son he could wear a dress next year if he felt like it.
Okay, so what? Firstly, that has nothing to do with the legal rights that same-sex couples are being denied. Secondly, you said the school already did this. At the time of you filming this advert, same-sex marriage isn't legal in Australia, and they allegedly did that anyway, which shows that the issue is not related to same-sex marriage. And thirdly, without context, that is a completely irrelevant statement. From what you said, it doesn't sound like they are forcing anyone to do anything, but instead are letting your child wear a dress if he wants to. If he doesn't want to, then he doesn't have to. And if other kids want to, well, you aren't them and you aren't their parents, so it really isn't any of your business.
When same-sex marriage passes as law overseas, this type of program becomes widespread and compulsory.
What kind of programs? Either you are just vaguely stating the word programs without any further explanation, which makes your statement 100% meaningless, or you're referring to the last person in the advert who said their child could wear a dress if he wanted to. If the latter is true, then it's contradictory. It is compulsory for him to wear a dress if he wants to? That is a self-defeating statement. And if you mean they are going to force him to wear a dress, please give an example of a country which has implemented this legislation. I'm very confident you can't. Even if we concede that this is a valid issue, it still isn't an argument against same-sex couples having equal rights. You could pass same-sex marriage and then legislate to make sure programs like this don't occur. Two separate issues. To choose what? What countries? What is happening in this advert? The fact that you have sad piano music doesn't grant you immunity from having to make sense.
Kids in Year 7 are being asked to role play being in a same-sex relationship.
Is this all schools? Is this part of the official state or federal curriculum? Because this is an argument about government legislation. If some schools are doing things you don't like using the freedom afforded to them, then your argument isn't with same-sex marriage legislation, but instead legislation regarding what schools can and can't do, which is something you would legislate separately to same-sex marriage, and is no reason to deny same-sex couples equal rights in the eyes of the law. Additionally, the way you have phrased that is that it sounds like you were talking about Australia at the time of shooting your advert, which, if that is true, then this is already happening while same-sex marriage isn't legal, indicating that this is a separate issue, just like we mentioned before.
You can say no.
Yeah, you can. But you haven't given us a reason why we should. You have not outlined any reason why same-sex couples should be denied equal rights. You have just outlined that some schools are allowing children to do some unconventional things. I am skeptical to even believe any of the claims you have made, as there is a good chance it's all exaggerated or even completely made up. But in any case, if I accept your arguments, the outcome would be to allow these things to happen even though you claim they already have without same-sex marriage being legal, or to pass legislation not related to the same-sex marriage legislation, which would stop these things from happening in schools. Either way, voting yes on same-sex marriage is the conclusion reached. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for regular videos, like this video, and share it around to help us raise the bar of public discourse.